Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. And I think it's time that we start giving respect where respect is due. We got to start judging phones by what they do right and not so much focused on what we think they do wrong. Now with that being said, this phone is boss. I can't believe I slept on this at the beginning at launch. And I know why I did, because I said in another video, simply the price. And I got to kind of get away from that. It was 400 bucks. And also it's a startup company too. So I don't know much about the company. So, you know, you got to take a risk and get out there and decide whether or not I want to drop 400 bucks on this phone or not do it. So with that being said, this phone has been great in the last 72 hours. Now, the hardware itself, let's get around that real quick. 72 hours with this phone has been great. Now, I do have a case. I have a tempered glass on it now, but I took the case off. It's just a clear case. It's the Orsley case. I took it off for this hands-on time that I'm going to give you. The phone is not flawless, but it is good, and it's way better than I thought it would be. It's got this boxy Sony feel to it, and you know what I mean? Sony phones are squared off, and this phone is really square. One of the avatars I created, I stood the phone up and it can stand up on its own. That is just crazy. But the hardware on this phone, it is so good. I mean, it's got a soft touch to it, but it's really slippery, but it's not very slippery. It's kind of a mixed bag. There's not much branding on here, a real faint NextBit branding, but you know it's a NextBit because you got your cloud. The cloud is more apparent than the logo because this lights up. And I haven't seen that light up yet. I haven't done anything, had anything go to the cloud yet or restore from the cloud yet, because I'm pretty active with the applications that I have on my phone. So I remember I only put applications on here that I actually use. But with this phone, I made an exception. What I decided to do was download all of the games that I've had in the past, even if I play them or not. I put them on here just to see if how long it would take for them to get out. I think there's a time frame or something like 7 days. I don't know what it is, but they'll eventually go away because all of them are not getting used. So I have all these games here and they're still in color because and I haven't clicked on all of these now. So I guess it hasn't been 7 days yet or something like that, or however long it takes. But they will eventually go to the cloud, and then I can watch this right here. I probably could send it to the cloud. I don't know if I can. I don't know, but nonetheless, again, this hardware is really, really nice. I've already tested the camera. The cameras are super nice. But the fact that this phone is square, it could take a little getting used to, but it's a real narrow phone, so it's not a real wide phone, so that's a plus. One thing I found out is that this phone has a notification light right here. Now it's not blinking at the moment, but it actually does have a notification light next to that microphone. I saw something flashing and I was like, what is, I said, oh man, so okay, so it has a notification light, so that's good. But there is a notification light, a white LED too, which, you know, I like the white LEDs. It pops up right there, and it lets you know that you've got messages waiting. So the hardware on here is good. The speakers on this thing are just phenomenal, man. I mean, they don't rival like the Axon speakers. They're not as good, I should say. They're not as good as the Axon speakers, but they are really, really solid. I mean, they're really, really loud and clear. I've been using this as my daily driver since I got it. Well, one of them, I should say. And this phone has actually been really, really solid, man. Performance-wise, I left their UI on here. I didn't install Pixel Launcher. I said I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start using phones as they come, and I'll try to stick to that as much as I can if they have a UI that I can deal with. Now, I couldn't deal with the Lieko's UI, so I immediately switched that over. Well, it's not the UI, it's just the launcher, the you know, the recent menu thing. I just couldn't deal with that. So this doesn't have an app tray, but I do get my swipe down, you know, so it's been good. It's more of a stock feel as far as that goes. This is all stock right here. That's just what it is. I have been extremely impressed with the performance on here. Now, this does have a Snapdragon 801 with 32 gigs built in. That's a 2 gigahertz octa-core hexa-core processor. Not octa-core, hexa-core. Hexa-core processor. It's a 1080p display and it's 5.2 inches, so it's really nice. It's really good, and I'm pretty surprised at the performance that I'm getting on a phone with the hexa-core besides the G4. That phone performed very well with the hexa-core processor, but in some other phones that I've gotten with the 808, they just didn't do too well. But this one is flying, man. It's doing its thing. I have had no issues at all with any kind of crashes or anything like that. It's just really, it's a nice experience on Android. Speakers are nice. Cameras are really good. The front camera records in 1080p also, along with the rear, and then also in 4K. I actually shot a video with this phone, and it's in 4K. I believe I shot it in 4K, and that'll go live later on, I guess. I don't know. I did a couple of them, so... but this has been a great experience. The hardware is good enough, but there are some things that I just cannot get over. One of them being this fingerprint reader. It's not very accurate. It takes, I had to set up this finger again. For some reason, it just would not read the finger. All other fingers seem to work on the first try, and then this one doesn't work on the first try, but it'll see it. Yeah, it takes a second. It's one of the worst implementations of a fingerprint reader that I've ever experienced on a phone. That is just, and if someone disagrees with that, I'm perfectly fine with that. If it's working for you, I like that they tried to do it, which it makes sense. You know, you press the power. It would be nice if I didn't have to press the button. That's maybe something, because it's not, it's a button that appears, it's a fingerprint reader, so you should be able to just incorporate being able to touch it and unlock it, but I guess they don't want to do accidental unlocks. What you do is it took some time to get used to, but you press it and then you continue to leave your finger there and then it unlocks. So that took me a second to get used to. I'm used to that, but you know, now the fingerprint's not very accurate. It doesn't unlock on every time. It's doing it now that I'm on video. But that's been really frustrating me, man, that this fingerprint reader just does not read well. The finger that I wanted to read the most is this finger right here, and it wasn't doing it. So what I did was I went in and deleted it and put it back on there. And let me see. You can see because it bumped the security. It bumped it down. Like if you go to fingerprints, it moved it away to the bottom. It put number 1 at the bottom because that's this finger. It's the first finger I programmed. But aside from that fingerprint reader, these volume rockers are very flush, and you know, it's like you can probably barely even see them there. But it's been a good experience overall, man. I was surprised at the camera quality on this phone. And again, I think we should start judging phones on and reviewing phones objectively on what they do right, because too many times we see reviews and that people automatically start to pick out everything that it does wrong. And it'll only be like 2 things or 3 things, and then they have 10 other things that it does great, and they don't really get into that, you know. But the NextBit Robin is a phenomenal device for performance, the overall experience. Some people say I don't want to use the cloud. I understand that, but you do get 32 gigs on board, so that should be enough for the average consumer. Because I've learned that the average consumer, they don't even use 2 gigs, just like they don't need unlimited data. You know, they're on Wi-Fi all the time. So it's just kind of one of those things you're wanting more than you actually need. So that kind of falls into it with this phone right here, I think, for a lot of people, or not just this phone, phones that have 32 gigs on board. You could kind of trick yourself into thinking that you need more than 32 gigs. I could actually live with a phone that has 16 gigs. It was pushing it kind of close. I could do it though, but I'd have to utilize more of my cloud storage that I have. And that will be fine because I have unlimited data, so I can stream everything from the cloud. But if I didn't have an internet connection, then that would be a different story. But nonetheless, the NextBit Robin has been very impressive. Speaker quality has been good over the last 3 days. Screen is very beautiful. This 5.2-inch display is very beautiful. I do have wallpapers installed. You know, I didn't do the Pixel Launcher, but I do have wallpapers installed because I like those. I like this wallpaper right here. Fluidity of the device has been great. Now, one thing I'll point out now, and this isn't like my full review of it, but I don't like this right here. I don't like that I can't remove this. I've tried to remove this, and if you can remove this, could somebody please tell me in the comments how to remove this right here? Because I don't think you can remove it. It just stays that same spot everywhere. There's no way to remove it. You can't remove it, and I don't like. I would at least be able to like to put it down here in the bottom of the app tray, you know, just to get it out of the way and have an application right there. And that might sound crazy, you know, say, Jay, well, you got all that other room on the screen, but I just don't like not being able to move this. You're forcing me to keep this here, and, you know, I can't move it. This is a cool implementation here with this apps right here. You know, it kind of doesn't have an app tray, but this is their app tray, so to speak, you know. So that's cool, but I don't think I'm a fan of that. But how you pin applications, you swipe down on them like that, and it'll say it's unsuccessfully unpinned, so I'll swipe it back. And that's so they don't go to the cloud. Like these applications, I don't need any of these to go to the cloud. I need them to stay here. And the Google apps, they don't go to the cloud. Like it'll say something like required application cannot be pinned. You see, so I don't think those actually go to the cloud. But overall, guys, man, I have been extremely surprised by the NextBit Robin. Oh my gosh, if you got this phone, keep it. You know, for the people that have had it more than 3 months, how do you feel about it? Because I definitely will revisit this phone in 3 months. This is a fantastic device. I definitely probably would take this to CES because these cameras are really good. We have so many things right in the palm of our hand that we can use to have a YouTube channel. Like some people, now you can definitely run a YouTube channel from a cell phone. Shout out to my Project 13. He has a big computer or 50-inch monitor. He runs his channel from his cell phone. He does everything from a cell phone. Editing, I mean, all that footage that you see, he's doing it all from his cell phone. The best I can do is from my iPad Pro 9.7. I can't do it from a cell phone. I've tried. I just need, I don't know, I just had to be on a bigger platform. I tell them all the time, dude, that's magic right there, that you can create those type of videos and content, and you're doing it from a cell phone. So, but I said that to say this, we can definitely run a YouTube channel from a cell phone. You know, if you're not going to do a lot of editing, and you can do one take Jake, hit it straight, upload it directly to YouTube, boom. Get you the studio application, you're done. You can do all your monetizations and everything, and you're good. You know, so NextBit Robin has been good, man. It's been 3 days, and this phone has been really exciting to use. And you probably say, how's it exciting? It's just a new experience because of the cloud, and then the hardware is really good. The cameras are great. I don't have any problems with the software. It's kind of just, it's almost stockish, you know. So I'll see you guys in the next video. What do you guys think about the NextBit Robin? Is it a phone that you would even consider? It's worth it. It's definitely worth, and it competes with the $299 phones and above. You know, this performance on here, if we take price out of it, this phone competes with all the other phones. You know, it does everything that a person would want it to do. So that's the NextBit Robin, my 3 days with it. I'll have a full review up later on. I'll probably match this up against a couple of other phones like the Honor 8. I don't know what I'm going to do at this point because I don't plan anything. I just turn the camera on at one point and get to shooting. So there it is, the NextBit Robin. I'm super excited that I pulled the trigger on this one. Shout out to my Project 13. I asked him, I said, you know, you had that phone. Are you going to pull the trigger? And he said, or should I pull the trigger? He said, dude, do it. For $135, do it. And I said, click. I hit buy. And I'm glad I listened to him because this is a fantastic device. More to come on the NextBit Robin. This is 72 hours in. I'm still very hyped and excited about my purchase. Take care, guys.